This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Welcome to this ride. Thanks, Magnus.
You're welcome.
This is my brother, Magnus. He's the one who comments on all of my videos, pretty much.
I like the comment.
And he's been supporting my channel from the get-go, okay? So when you guys were like, not even in the eye of this channel, okay? My brother was commenting on those videos, and now you guys are here. Now you can meet him in person. Awesome. So we were talking about force versus power. This is a critical thing to understand when it comes to masculinity. And the reason why is because when we think about the patriarchy, the way that women have been oppressed and forced by men for so long.
There you go. Get some blue lights.
Yeah, that was awesome blue lights. We're like thinking, is it not allowed to film while we drive?
No, we're fine, man. This is your...
So, force versus power. So, okay, let's think about force for a second. Forcing comes from impatience. Forcing comes from being in the now and not understanding the past or the future. When you are forcing things, that means that you believe that if you don't do this immediately, then there's going to be problems in the future. Or you're just impatient. And very often, this is why women are more likely to force than men. It's a feminine trait, because if you've noticed, women very often, if they don't get their way, or if something they're struggling with something, or they're upset about something, they will force their way through. Okay? And this is sometimes very destructive. Other times it's necessary. Like, think about a child that's, climbing up in a tree that could possibly, endanger their safety. Sometimes it's necessary to force a child. But 95% of the time, it's not necessary. And if, so we have to realize that we as men, the more we want to force things, the more feminine we are. The more masculine we are, the more we'll still have a high standard, but we let go when things are not going the way we want them to. We let go when people don't desire to follow us. We just move on. And for example, like I had one client who was telling me about how, he wants to think about business. He's doing semen retention. He's doing everything that I'm telling him. But there's just one thing, and that's the fact that he gets so nervous when he sees beautiful girls. Like, really nervous. And he can't even talk to them. Like, he starts sweating in his palms, in his face, and it's just like gets really uncomfortable. And he's like, oh, it's too much. And then every time we have a consultation, he talks to me about it. And I'm like, this is not interesting, because I've already told him to avoid women, So I'm like, why are you talking about this? So, but he tells me every time, like, sorry for talking about this, and I know you don't want to hear about this, but it's this thing that I get really nervous around women. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? We can't control this any longer, Now it's time to let go. And basically what I told him instead to do was to embrace it. Okay, so you get nervous when you talk to women. How about every single day for the next week, you talk to a woman? You talk to a beautiful woman every single day and be okay with it. It's not a problem. You don't have to take it any further. You don't have to ask for her phone number. You can just be her friend. You just talk to her, no problem. And embrace those emotions. Embrace that social anxiety. Let go and be in the moment. Just talk. There's nothing wrong with talking. She's your sister for now, right? So that's just an example of trying to control the situation. He's trying to control how he feels when he talks to this girl. He's like, I need to be strong. I need to not think about being nervous, and I need to be emotionally stable, and it's not working, and I'm sweating, and yeah. Let go. It's not a problem. It's okay. It's safe. You can be okay with being you. There's no problems being you. And now he told me that everything's changed. He's like, now he doesn't even want to talk to girls. It was just like a small mind shift that needed to happen in his brain about, oh, okay, so I can talk to them. And I don't need to feel nervous or anxious because there's like, it's okay to talk to them. And not only that, but if I do talk to them on a daily basis, I know that eventually I won't have anxiety about talking to them. So everything's going to work out in the long run. That was another example. And this has everything to do with goals as well. Very often we have, let's say we have a financial goal, or we have an exercise goal, or something that we're really, really trying to get. And the problem happens when we try to control every single aspect of that situation. Watch out. Yeah.
Can we drive this way?
Yeah. You can. So if you have a goal and you're trying to force the goal to happen, it's not gonna happen. The fact is, the way that you actually make a goal happen is from letting go. It's amazing how that works. But you have a goal, you have it in the back of your brain, and then you choose to, you know what? I'm attached to the goal, I'm gonna achieve it, but the fact that I don't allow it to create negative emotions in me. Like, for example, if I have a goal and I'm not getting there, I'm like, oh no, I'm freaking out. That's gonna push the goal away. It's not gonna bring it to you. It's the moment that you are able to be neutral, the moment when you're able to actually let go and not really care that much about the goal, even though you're fighting for it, you're working for it every single day, and you just allow the process to happen by itself because you know you're taking action. You don't have to fear anything. You don't have to fear that you're not going to reach the deadline, because eventually it's going to happen. You're on track. You're taking action every single day. So that's something to remember, in terms of letting go. Also, another thing is in terms of girlfriends, okay? For you guys out there who's still thinking about girlfriends, don't think about girlfriends, but I'm going to mention it anyhow now. That is the fact that if you have a girlfriend and she's now beginning to I'm not sure if I want to be with you anymore, and you don't really do it for me anymore, and I'm, whatever, then you can just know that the fastest way to get her back is to let go. Exactly. You can try to, oh, but baby, we can make this work. We can make this happen. I promise I'll change. I'll do anything. Promise you. If you try to force it that way, she's gonna be running in the opposite direction. But if you just let go and you're neutral, you're okay, well, that's fine. And then the next day, she doesn't hear from you. And the next day, she doesn't hear from you. And the next day, she doesn't hear from you. Not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because you're letting go. You're giving her space. You're giving her the opportunity of crawling back to you. You're giving her the opportunity to, oh, but I did like having him in my life. And suddenly she runs back to you. Guys, understand that I'm talking about semen retention. I'm talking about leading yourself. I'm talking about business and leading a team and all that stuff. But understand that the slogan of this channel is understand the woman and you will understand the world. And I will be sharing more and more and more about the woman eventually. It's coming. Okay, so don't be impatient about it. Impatience is being feminine. Patience is masculine. Anything you'd like to add, Magnus? Thank you for driving so carefully and nicely.
Yeah, thanks. No, I think it's a vital point you made there. Letting go is a way of letting things in also. You know, allowing for what needs to be there to come into your life. And being trusting is a major key for change in the right direction. Forcing things usually just complicates things. So
it really does.
Trust is a very masculine trait also. I think it is. When you're relaxed, you're confident, you're trusting.
I really like what you're saying, because very often this is what happens when I talk to people about politics, for example. Because really, taxation is theft, right? The only way that they're going to get our money is by forcing us to give it to them. And the fact of the matter is, like, when I talk to people about that, they're like, you know, when I say that, hey, human beings, 95% of us are really good, honest people who are doing our best to provide for ourselves and our families. And then they're like, yeah, but we need to force people and take away their money. 2/3 of their money, we need to force them and take them away. And I'm like, trust, right? Just like Magnus is saying, trust that humanity is good. Trust that we will actually take care of the poor. We will actually take care of the handicapped. We will actually take care of the people who are struggling and who need our help. And you know how we're going to do that? Because we've got a lot of money. That's what happens. When the government doesn't take 2/3 of your money, you've got a lot of money. And when you have a lot of money, you actually have no problem sharing it with other people. The problem is that when the government takes all your money, spends it recklessly and ruthlessly on whatever else that they want to spend it on, and everyone's poor. Suddenly no one has money to help the poor and the needy, and they don't sometimes get the help from the government. So anyway, force versus trust.
Yes, indeed.
So remember, people, it's important to let go. But at the same time, it's important to have a high standard for what you accept in your life, and then massively progressing towards it by taking massive action and creating tons of options so that you can let go. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. This is my brother Magnus, and we'll see you in the next video.